As you may be familiar with from my earlier videos that I posted, I lived in Japan for 13 months. Since coming back from Japan, I've had any number of times when someone has asked me, hey, I'm thinking about doing the same thing. Do you have any advice? What information can you give me about that experience? Or how would be a good way to prepare for going over there, and that sort of thing. And due to these questions, I've developed a sort of form letter that gives basic information about working and living abroad, particularly in Japan. Now, to help address this issue, and hopefully in case anyone else is interested that hasn't necessarily asked, I decided to make a short mini video series on this topic. The first video will be about preparing to work and live in Japan, the second about working in Japan, and the third about living in Japan. Now, I'm going to base this initially on the form letter that I would normally send out. But if you have any questions or suggestions of things that I should address, topics that I should address, by all means let me know, and I can broaden my scope, perhaps extend the videos or do more than 3 videos, or whatever is needed. So please share any comments or criticism and suggestions. So here is the first video: preparing to work and live in Japan. If you are wanting to teach English in Japan as a job, you first need to decide who you would rather teach: adults, kids, college students, or all of the above. Depending on what kind of program you do, these vary greatly. Make sure you know what age level you'd be expected to teach in any given program. When investigating different programs, also check how many days per week you get off, how many breaks you get during the year, what the pay is, etc. A big factor in determining these sorts of things is whether you want to teach at a private school or a public one. Public schools are normal school hours. Private English language schools are often afternoon to evening shifts. That's what I did. I worked 6 days per week at a small private English language school for decent pay. Though I love Japanese culture and found the vast majority of Japanese people to be a fantastically nice group, Japan is not the only place to teach abroad. English is very commonly taught as a second language around the world, so wherever you're interested in going, it probably has an opportunity for you to teach English over there. You can find programs like this all over the world, and you should try to get a job in a culture that truly interests you. So, if there are parts of Japanese life, such as the martial arts, kabuki theater, samurai castles, Buddhism, Shinto, flower arranging, Mount Fuji, onsen, the wonderful food and festivals of Japan, Japanese literature and or language, anime, manga, any of that, if any of the whole of Japanese culture interests you, then that's a great place for you to go, obviously, because not only will you benefit from experiencing living abroad, but you'll appreciate, even if, just whatever your experiences are with the actual job will be complemented with your experiences just in the culture itself. I know I enjoy quite a bit about Japanese culture and food these days and love talking about it. Anyway, a cultural or traveling book on Japan, especially one with lots of maps and food descriptions, is a great thing to get ahead of time. I actually recommend getting at least 2 travel books on Japan and Japanese culture, just so you're getting multiple perspectives. And just reading up on them ahead of time, you can keep them with you on the plane ride over, which is like 20 hours if you're coming from the roughly 20 hours if you're coming from the U.S., depending on what part of the U.S. But anyway, it'll help you when you get there too, and when you're trying to find your way around. It's important. It's good. Though this isn't the same situation by any means, it's very good to practice teaching English by volunteering with a literacy advocacy group in town. I did some volunteering as part of a class credit for my grad studies and thought it was wonderfully enjoyable. The program I participated with teaches native citizens and immigrants how to read, write, and sometimes speak better English. And it's again, great to get to meet people from different cultures even within your local area. So I recommend that to anybody anyway, but especially if you're thinking of teaching abroad. Technology is a great way to stay connected with friends and family, of course. In particular, I recommend getting a laptop, if you don't already have one. Not only is it important for having email connectivity, you can actually talk for free over the internet through Google Talk or Skype. I used Google Talk at the time because I wanted to talk just through computers to my family at home. If you want to cheaply call your family or friends' cell phones to the internet, Skype is the option that allows you to do that. To my knowledge, Google can't do that yet, but who knows, whenever you're watching this, that may have changed, or maybe I'm just not, I haven't looked it up recently, but in the past, Google couldn't talk phones, or sorry, couldn't call phones. Anyway, but all you need to get to make Google Talk or Skype work is to get yourself an account, which is free, to have the computer, and to have a microphone that hooks up to said computer. That's pretty much it. Much, much cheaper than trying to make long-distance phone calls over the landlines or cell phones or anything like that. Additionally, I highly recommend getting a digital camera that takes video clips. As you can see on my account, I posted numerous videos of my adventures in Japan and wish I'd done more. In particular, I did not realize that my camera had video taking abilities when I climbed Mount Fuji, and now I really wish I had realized that because I would have liked to have had a video of me like triumphantly reaching the top. I did take pictures though. Anyway, but really, really interesting experience climbing Mount Fuji. Fuji-san. I'm not sure, forget if it's Fuji-san or Fuji-sama. It's one of those two. Anyway, also videos are a great way to stay connected with friends and family at home because they can see what you're doing and they can see what you're experiencing. You can share that with them. And of course, it's a really great way to record your memories with friends that you've met in Japan and experiences that you've had. So again, I just highly recommend get yourself a camera that takes video. The company I worked for was called Language Academy Times. It was located in Ise, Japan, which is about 2 hours south of Nagoya, or southeast of Nagoya. I'm going to post a link to their website on the information bar, particularly a part of their website that has a picture of me with a couple of the other teachers that worked there at the time. That is, I miss those guys so much. Anyway, their website is almost all in Japanese, so I'm not sure how helpful it would be, but I wanted to go ahead and provide the information about where I worked so you would know where I was coming from when I'm giving all of this information. I'm afraid I cannot really give advice about JET, Aeon, Nova, or any of the other major organizations for teaching English in Japan because I didn't participate in them. So I highly recommend you seek out people who have done those if you need more information about those experiences. But you definitely want to do that just so you're more and more familiar with what the differences in experience are depending on what kind of organization you work for, etc., etc. You do not need a TESOL or other certification in order to teach. Not only in Japan, but I suspect really anywhere else in the world. The only qualifications you need are to, number one, be a native English speaker, and number two, have graduated from college. Doesn't even matter what your major was in college. You just have to have that undergraduate degree. So if you have been thinking about working abroad as a potential job option, or have you ever just thought, wow, that would be really neat if I could do that, and you're in college and you're kind of struggling, get through it. Get your degree. It really will help you, because most places will not hire you unless you have an undergraduate degree of some kind, unfortunately. So I highly recommend that. You should be finishing college anyway, hopefully. So yeah, but I had an undergraduate degree. I did not have TESOL training, and I did not have any other certification for teaching. My major was English, not education. Yet there I was in Japan for 13 months teaching English. Go figure. At the same time, it probably is easier for people who've taught or had at least experience making lesson plans to adjust to working abroad. So if you have no experience with that, I do recommend just finding some way to practice or get information about how to actually teach. It's a very, very helpful skill to have if that's what you plan on doing for a living, even for a year or two. So yeah, those are my recommendations as of now. I hope these are helpful, and again, if you have any questions or suggestions about being an American or other Westerner who wants to potentially teach English in Japan, by all means, let me know. Let me know in the comments section. Thanks for watching.